Hello and welcome to episode number 268 of the Launch Lounge podcast. In today's episode, you'll discover why letting go of something successful can actually be the path to building something even better, so you can create a business that excites you for years to come. So stay tuned. Welcome to today's episode. Today's episode is one of those episodes where I feel a little bit like I'm lifting up my dress, giving you a view of my knickers. Sometimes it's nice to hide behind the microphone and be the one who gets to work with the fancy clients and run the fancy funnels and do all the things behind the scenes. And then an episode like today's episode comes along and I am I volunteered. I decided I'm going to record this, but I thought about it and it makes me uncomfortable sharing this. But I know that if I don't share with you my growth journey and if I don't share it authentically, then that's just going to create some yuckiness for me, right? Because I've been doing this long enough to know that you guys just see me for who I am, see me ups and downs, you see the ins, the outs, and you love it. And you love learning from my mistakes. And you love learning from the things that I have learned. And I have definitely been in a very privileged position to be able to learn what I have learned and to be able to pass it on. So I share with you today something that I guess 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, but maybe 5 years ago, I would have seen this as failure. I don't see it as failure at all. When I was making notes for today's episode, I was working with AI to come up with a good title for today's episode. And AI suggested something about failure about this. And I was like, nah. Let's not call that failure. It's definitely not that. But what it is it is something I built that I had to make the really tough decision on closing down. And so today I'm going to share with you the journey of why I ultimately closed down the Launch Lounge membership program, what I learned in the process of coming to the decision, and I'm going to share a tiny bit of what is coming next. That has me really leaping out of bed with excitement every morning to come to work, to walk the 5 meters from my kitchen to my office. If you've ever felt that something in your business, like you've outgrown it or it doesn't fit the way it used to, today's episode is especially for you because you're going to hear my story of how I had to get to a place where I realized that my membership isn't fitting me anymore, or it's not fitting my business. Either way, I am my business, and which is not always a healthy thing, but it just wasn't working for me anymore. So for the longest time, my membership was something I felt incredibly proud of. And it still is something I am incredibly proud of. I know I have helped hundreds of students, hundreds and hundreds. How do I know this? I got the testimonials. I got the results. I have the screenshots from the Facebook groups. I have the verbal testimony of people telling me how much this has meant to them, of people showing me their launch data. So I know that it has created tremendous impact. And it gave me a way to share my knowledge beyond just ads. I started the membership back in 2020. After I launched A-Lister, in the delightful, if you can go back and read your horoscopes, I think my horoscopes would have said, don't do it, because I chose the date to launch my first Facebook ads course as the 20th of March, 2020. Yeah, that day is what I chose. Leading into that launch, of course, it started looking very different very quickly. But nonetheless, A-Lister was a runaway success from the start. And at the end of the 8 weeks of live coaching I was doing with the A-Lister students, the students begged me for more. And I was like, can we keep doing this? I am loving this. I am loving coaching you guys and teaching you guys and sharing not just how ads work, but how to apply ads in marketing systems that's going to bring out the best in your ads and that's going to ultimately lead to building a profitable business. And so I really loved it. And in June 2020, I just sent out an email to my email list and I said to them, I'm going to launch a membership. I don't know what's going to be in it. The only thing I know for sure is I'll be in there coaching every week. It doesn't even have a name. It's called The Membership. And if you want to join it, you can join it now for the beta price of $97. And I got about 20 people signed up from that email, which is phenomenal if you think about it, like a cold email that just went out to my audience, signing up for who knows what, right? So I had a whole lot of students from A-Lister. They signed up for this, and then about 20 new students. And so we created this new community. And shout out to you if you were a member of the Launch Lounge membership in 2020 and 2021, because those founding members, they know who they are. We had a thing going, right? That was a very special thing. Some of them even called it the best community on the internet. I'm just paraphrasing, right? It was a really friendly, non-competitive, educational, supportive community. And at first it was just about coaching and helping the students make progress. And then I started adding content to the membership, like learning content, as I saw there was a need for it, right? So I never sat down and went, here's my curriculum for this membership. I just kind of went, oh, they're making this mistake over and over. Let me create something for them. Oh, they might want to know about this. Let me create something. And it was kind of haphazard, but it was all in there and they loved it and they used it and I could refer back to it. So when I was coaching someone over and over on the same thing, I could say, well, I've just created this training on how to create a high converting landing page for your lead magnet. So go and have a look at the training and then we, implement what you learn in the training and then come and talk to me again so that we can build your coaching on top of educational content. And it was great and it grew and it grew. And at its highest point, at its peak, which was 2022, 2023, we had over 100 members and there were 5 coaches in there that was coaching up to 4 times a week on different topics. And really when I step, when you're in it, you're so busy with it. But now when I can step back, I can really see, wow, it was beautiful. It was really something magnificent. But over time, I started to feel this quiet tug, a sense that while the membership had value, it wasn't allowing me or my students, if I'm honest, to grow at a level that I feel we deserved. It wasn't broken. It was still working and the students were still coming to get coached. It was just, it's like the container didn't fit anymore. And I didn't have the words to describe it. I felt it at the beginning. And later, the more I asked myself some hard questions, the better I started to understand why it doesn't feel quite right anymore. In 2023, in the later part of 2023, while I was restructuring my team and going through making people redundant and just a really sad, miserable, if you've ever had to let any team members go, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It sucks. There's no other way to say it. It just sucks. But while I was going through this restructure with my team, we were also doing a complete overhaul of the membership content. And I was distracted and I wasn't focused enough. And I didn't oversee this new structure of the content enough to pick up that it was becoming a little bit discombobulated and hard to find the content and hard to navigate what's where and where's what and where do I learn something and how do I do this. And along with that, our onboarding system that was amazing, we kind of had to change it a little bit, and it just didn't flow as well as it used to. If you have an online courses or coaching business that is already profitable and you're ready to hire the best ads team to help you scale your business with Facebook and Instagram ads, I want to invite you to apply for one of the openings we have in the agency right now. We've opened up 2 spots for new clients starting on November the 1st, and we're actively looking for 2 coaches or course creators who are ready to open the floodgates of traffic on their profitable funnels so that they can scale to 7 figures faster. Go to thelaunchlounge.com/agency right now to apply. So I added some lessons as I saw students need it. It was just becoming a bit discombobulated and hard to find content where you were looking for it, or specific lessons or things that you could learn. Because I added lessons like haphazardly without ever sitting down and creating a real curriculum for the membership, and because the structure had then changed, the educational piece didn't really follow a clear, understandable structure anymore. And for new students coming into that, who also didn't have a really great onboarding, or, well, there was an onboarding, but I know that it could have been better. So fewer and fewer students were actually going through the content because it was messy and a little bit confusing and they didn't know where to find it. And I knew it required of me to take some time to recreate and restructure it. But I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Just could not bring myself to put it in the calendar and commit and do it. And I kind of danced around it for a while, but I was starting to feel like the membership needed a complete overhaul. Like it required a large chunk of my energy to go in and clean it up and reform it. And at some point, I realized that I just wasn't committing to doing that work. And that feeling it's not a nice feeling when you realize you're procrastinating on improving something that really needs improvement. But then I started digging a little bit into why. I realized that the hardest things to let go of sometimes aren't things that don't work anymore. It's the things that do work, but they don't work for us anymore. If we cling too tightly to something just because it once served us, we can unintentionally block the bigger, more aligned opportunities that are waiting for us. And for our students. I thought about closing the membership for over 6 months, but each time I thought about it, each time I spoke about it, I just thought, I don't want to disappoint the students. I don't want to let the students down that are in the membership right now. And then I was confronted with a question. And I've repeated this question a few times over the last few weeks here on the podcast. And the question is, if I had to build my business in such a way that 5 years from now, I am still excited to jump out of bed and come to work, what does my business look like then? What does my membership look like? I asked myself, what does this membership look like if 5 years from now, I'm still excited to be the leader? And there was a bigger question underneath that. How do I build my business so that 5 years from now, I still enjoy working in my business? And the answer was, it is not this. I built this membership model based on models that I saw other people had, other people in our industry. I launched this model based on a desire that my audience had. They said, hey, we want more coaching. I gave them more coaching. And then I kept adding pieces on, adding pieces on, adding pieces on. But I didn't begin with, wow, what do I want this to look like 5 years from now? I began with, okay, yeah, we can do coaching. Okay, yeah, I can add some teaching on. And before I knew it, 5 years was over. I had over 700 hours of recorded coaching calls. 700 hours, you guys, of recorded coaching calls. That is a lot of content. That's a lot of me speaking. But I also had a lot of success stories. So there was something really beautiful. But when I had to sit down and answer the question, what do I want this to look like if I'm still excited 5 years from now? I could no longer avoid the answer to that question being, it doesn't look like this. So how do I want it to look instead? What do I want? What will it look like 5 years from now? What I know for sure is that what I am rebuilding in place of the membership is something with a clearly defined start and end to the curriculum. I know it's something with a focus on education rather than on community, on learning more than coaching. And that doesn't mean there isn't support for learning. It just means the focus isn't coaching first. It's more assisted learning and implementation feedback than coaching. I know that it has a clear way to measure progress. I am, at heart, at the end of the day, the child of a teacher and a lawyer. And so I love teaching. And I love teaching in a learning environment, not in a coaching environment, and certainly not in a community sort of we are here to get to know each other and to I shouldn't say that. There is an element of that, but that's not the thing we lead with, right? I want to give my students a clear educational pathway to grow with the support they need to make weekly progress. Not occasionally I show up and I answer a few questions and ask a few questions and maybe go do what I was told, or maybe not. Actual progress every single week, measurable. So based on those very tough answers I had to be very honest with myself about, I made the decision to close the doors. Not because it failed, like I said, but because I knew something new needed to be born. Something that would serve my community, my students, and me at a whole new level. It's easy to believe that stopping something is the same as disappointing other people. It's not. Sometimes letting go is the bravest and wisest thing you can do for yourself and for those you lead. The cost of holding on to this would be so big that I wouldn't be able to create what comes next. So I wonder, and I have a question for you. If you've been feeling that tug, that whisper, that something in your life or in your business has outgrown its current form, first of all, I want you to know that it is normal. That is what growth is. And that you are not alone. It's an opening. It's an invitation to something new. So ask yourself, if I'm still doing this 5 years from now and I'm loving it, what has changed? What have I let go of? And what have I given life to instead? And follow that life. Make space for that life. Create open room in your calendar for that new thing to be born. If you have a story to share with me about letting go of something old to make space for something even better in your business, I want to invite you to tell me your story. send me an email to podcast@thelaunchlounge.com and share your story with me of how you made space for something new. I would love to share your story here on the podcast, but I'd also love to just read it if you want to keep it private. Next week, Tuesday, we are talking about evergreen and live launches. This episode is called, Is Your Launch Really Ready for Evergreen? Here's how to tell. And it's coming out this Tuesday. So that means Monday night, after you finish watching The Last of Us, make a mental note that tomorrow there's a new episode of The Launch Lounge, and then tune in on Tuesday to find out if your launch is ready to go evergreen. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I hope you feel inspired from my vulnerability and from, let's hope, my wisdom and what I've learned on this journey. If there's one thing I know for sure, it is that I have been in this for a while, and some lessons come back around every now and then, and some lessons are lessons that you keep learning at different levels, and this is one of them. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for hanging out with me. Take care. Bye. Before you go, if today's episode helped you, imagine how many more lives could be transformed if other creators, coaches, and experts found these strategies too. Your shares and reviews help more course creators discover how to get their knowledge out into the world. Please take a moment to rate the show and leave a quick review. When you do, we get to reach more people and we make a bigger impact together. Because when more people who help people succeed, the world becomes a better place. Thank you.